So I've gotten several requests on my process of creating rhinestone templates. There are easier ways to do it. So let me just start off saying that there are programs that you can use that will create the rhinestone template without you having to do much work. But what can you do if you have a Cricut or another machine that does not give you that option? That is going to be what I am showing you today. So it is a little lengthy, but I just want you to see that it is possible if you have the time. Hey, you can do it and create custom rhinestone templates for your logos, designs, and even do it for other people and make money if that is what you choose. So let's talk about a few things first. The first thing you need to determine is what stone size you plan to use. Now, I would say most common is a stone size 6, a 10, possibly a 12, which I don't have any, and then 16. Okay, I am going to show you templates that I have created with all three of those sizes. Okay, this first one here is Faith in God. This is a size 6, so it may not be, you may not be able to see it, but it is really, really, really small. Okay, next I'm going to show you a size 10. This is a little larger. Okay, little larger. And then I have here a 16. Now this doesn't make any sense, but this is actually goes this way. It's a border for a design that I have, so that down there is a key. So having them close by each other, this is what they all look like. Okay, a 6, a 10, a 16. You need to determine what size you're going to use and how big you want it, because once you start creating, you don't want to resize your image or it's going to resize the stones, and that's going to be a problem. So we're going to do something really simple just so I can give you the idea of what it is that you will be doing. So we're going to create a rhinestone template for a heart. Okay, I am going to let's make this heart a little bigger. Yeah. And then create our circle. So right now you see our circle is 2 by 2, but we need it to be whatever we're going to be making. So let's make it a size 10 since our heart is a little bigger. So I'm going to go up here to resize it. I'm going to open it and I'm going to put that 0.120. Actually, I'm going to put 130. So here's the thing. And then you want to enter. Actually, I should have kept that closed. What? Let's go ahead and reopen it. Sorry. 130. 130. Okay, then we're going to lock that because we need this stone size, as you see, is small, to stay a 0.13, which is a little larger than what I have here, but that is okay. What you don't want is to go smaller than whatever size you're using, because when you go to brush the stones in, it's not going to fall in the hole properly. Okay, so here's our stone. We want to make sure it stays in its form, and easy enough. We're just going to duplicate that stone a couple of times, and we're going to place it where we want it. Okay, a little time, but this is simply what I do for my designs. Now, I'm going to show you something, because when you're trying to pick up the circle, if you're not careful, do you see how that changed to a 0.1? So when you're working with these small circles, it's not that noticeable, because your eye starts to lose sight, if you will, because you're working with these small circles. But you want to make sure that every time you place it, you make sure that it is what you need. So we're going to go back and change this to a, even as, well, we're going to change it. I'm going to change it to a 0.30 just to keep it consistent with what we're doing. So 130. Okay, then we're going to lock it. Okay, so you will continue to do this all the way around for this project, the heart, placing it exactly where you want it. Okay, once again, it'll take some time, but if you have the time, it's worth it because you get something custom, creative, and you can use it over and over again. Okay, here's another thing you can do if you want to go a little quicker. Or how about this? So this is the idea of the heart. You will continue to do it. If you want them closer, just make sure you move it closer. If you want them more spread apart, because we're using the size 10 is a little small. So if you want to get more bling, you want to put them closer together. Okay, and just keep an eye on the distance in between, depending on what you are doing, because this is a curve. I'm not sure if you can really space it out evenly. I mean, I'm sure you can. Well, let's see. Let's control, connect all of these. Now we're just trying this, guys. So don't crucify me if it doesn't work. Oh, okay. Or we can go over here and kind of grab all of them from on this side. Okay, let's go ahead and align them. And see, I don't know if it would be horizontal. Okay, that didn't work. So we're going to go back. Go back through that whole process. And align them, and let's try vertical. Okay, so yeah, that's going to be a problem if you are creating on a item that has a circle. Okay, so let's take it back just for the sake of having our design. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you another method that may be a little easier. We're going to do a letter. So let's do a text. I'm going to do, let's do I'm. Why I'm, I don't know, but that's what we're going to do, okay? So let's change this to red so we can see it. Let's connect that. And, well, here's a perfect example. If I decided to resize my heart, because it is connected, I just want to show you this real quick. It changes the sizes of my stones to a 0.07, which is nowhere in any of these sizes that I have over here. Okay, so that is why it's important for you to create your design first and make sure you keep it that size. So we're going to group this, and I'm going to take that off. All right, so I'm going to use the word I'm just because it's straight. For starters, you may want to, or this method that I'm going to show you, it's kind of easier if you go ahead and create or use a block letterings like this. Okay, so this time, let's go ahead and use, let's act as though we're going to use the small, our size 6 stone. All right, so I'm going to change that size I keep unlocking it when I can keep it locked. I'm going to change that size to 0.101. I'm going to put that. Okay. I don't know why. 0.101. 101. Okay, and we're going to lock that. So once again, one more, a little higher than, or a little larger than our 100, but it doesn't matter because that only means that that stone is going to fall right into that circle when we brush our stones in. So the other method is if you're using a block design or lettering, you take your stone and duplicate it a couple of times. We're using a size 6. You want to determine, let me move this out the way. Determine where you want them. So right now, I'm going to do this just the way that it's coming out. Crooked and all of that. Because we know that we can align it. Okay? I'm going to gather all of these. Align them horizontally and space them out horizontally as well. Let me take that one out. So we're going to distribute them horizontally. Should be even. It doesn't look like it's coming out evenly. Align. Let's try that one more time. Horizontally. Okay. So we're going to group these together. This is going to become our kind of template. Before I put it on there, now I'm going to duplicate this. And actually, I could have done it okay, it's coming behind the red. I could have done this the amount of times that I needed it down and then connected it. But if you don't want to sit there and create all of those circles, you can do it this way. Okay, and I'm putting it on the side of it before I put it on top so I can see how long I would want it. So I would stop here, which means I would take this one. I'm going to ungroup it for the purpose of deleting this one. Then I'm going to take them all and group them together. Now, this is all one piece. Okay, so let's go here. I'm going to take this, put it back there, and arrange it to bring it to the front. I'm going to make this a little bigger. And then I'm just going to copy this. Put it spaced out however far apart I want it. Okay. Now I can copy all of these now, put my image back on, and instead of doing that again, now I'm just using this to quickly fill in the rest. Now, when it comes to your shapes, or because we're taking it out of a straight state, what you want to do is kind of just see where you want it, even if it's over a little bit. So if you see right here, I'm not on the end, but remember this backing won't be there unless you're putting stones on top of vinyl or doing outline. And I may do another video with that. So let's say that we're going to do this. Right, now we're going to have to ungroup because we have some work that we need to do. So this ungrouping will kind of create more of a problem or make us do more work. So here's what I'm going to suggest you do as well. When we did our first line over here before we duplicated it, I'm going to ungroup just for the sake of this. I'm going to duplicate this. Usually when I'm making designs or making templates, depending on my design, I will formulate my circles in different groups. So when I get to spaces like this, I don't have to ungroup everything and almost start over again. So what I mean by that is I may do a grouping of this, right? Because if I did this, let me do one more. If I was considering that I have to go or cover this area here, I would have created this. Of course, you want to make sure that it's the same. Let's see if it'll align right vertically. No, it's not doing it. Okay. So I want to duplicate this, but then group what I just duplicated. That way this is grouped. However, these are still free, that if I need to quickly create a different design, like for this, I can go ahead and do that quickly, opposed to blocking everything together, using that as my template, and then getting to a place where I have to undo everything I just did, like here. Okay, so let's take all of this out. And I'm doing a long process, guys, because everybody doesn't, my mind tells me to continue to block out the I am like this and just do this, right? Put it back. Boom. Everybody's mind doesn't work like that. So I'm just trying to think for the people who may not think like me. Okay. Now, these need to actually be spaced a little bit closer together, because I can see there's more spacing in between here than there is there. And you want your template to be formulated. Okay, so let's just say we created that. We're going to line that up there, and then we're going to duplicate this. So boom, if I ungroup that, because I see I have space over here, I may ungroup this and delete these, that one. I may keep that one. Okay, so let's duplicate this, because now we have our smaller grouping. That looks like it needs to be turned a little bit. And needs to be pushed over some. Okay, down here. There we go. And then I'm going to duplicate it, but I may count out. Once again, I don't know how your mind works. 1, 2, 3, 4. This lets me know I need 4 bundles, or easier, I can go ahead and group, if I can get in there. Okay, I'll group that, duplicate it, and then just flip it. And now that becomes my, one of them didn't come out. So I wouldn't overlap them. I would not do that. Let's see. Let's ungroup that. I'm trying to do this as raw as possible. Which, once again, this is why I said it takes time. If you're a patient person, I mean, maybe something that you do over a period of, you know, a day or two, maybe not all in one sitting. Ooh, let's go back. It can get frustrating, especially when you're grouping and copying, and because as you see while I'm trying to group that, it's coming and clicking on the I'm. So it can be frustrating. You may want to pull your work outside of that spacing so that you can, here we go. Pull your work out of that spacing so that you can mess with it without it bothering anything else. All right. So here I see, actually let me put that there, which that looks a little boggled up. Sometimes it's just a matter of looking with your eye. Don't be afraid to pull it close so you could actually see it. Like this, I would move over. This, I would move over. That's all together. Or it may be a matter of just actually having to ungroup these. Ungroup. Thought I ungrouped this already. And you may have to make some adjustments in here. Once again, longer, but some people don't mind. Some people will say, you know what, I don't have time for all of that. And then guess what? Then it's just not for you, and that's okay. You can go to a company, or if you have, I have here down here Silhouette. I don't know if you see Silhouette. If you pay for Silhouette, they do have where you can create templates in there. It's not as, it's much easier. I'll say that. But once again, we are talking about people who does not have Silhouette, who wants to get creative, and I'm not liking this at all. But for the sake of the video, I'm just trying to show you the possibility of doing stones. Okay, I'm not even going to so we have still some of the M that needs to be done. But how about this? I'm going to take the I'm excuse me, the I'm out so you can see what it would look like. Okay, I'm gonna take this extra work out here. Boom. Now technically, if it was filled in the rest of the way and I had the other piece, you will see that it's I'm, but for the most part you see it. All right, so what you would do after this, let me take you out, is you want to create a shape where you are, guess whatever shape you want, but it's probably easier to do. I'm gonna turn this red just so you can see it. Actually, I use most of my magic flock, which is the what you're going to cut your circles out on. All of mine is red and green, and I actually just seen that they have purple and blue, I think. So what you want to do, oh, before we do that, you want to group them, better yet, weld them. So long as all your circles, you're sure that they are the same size. I would go ahead and weld it so now this is just one piece and you don't have to worry about pieces coming apart. Okay, the next thing you want to do is to create a box, a border around it. Okay, it does not have to be big, but what that does is your Cricut, once you highlight all of that and attach it, okay, you see how all of those holes are there. So your Cricut will print this out, this square and all of these holes in there, and that's how you get this perfect square. Okay, I go ahead and put them on the back of cardstock, and I will put my letters and how many stones. That way I know how many stones I need to create this design if I'm putting it on the shirt. If I wanted to do them different colors, I know my P I don't need 58, my R I need 72. That's just me. You don't have to do all of that, but it's going to create this in a square form. Of course, if you press make, it's going to show you, well, that's not what we want. So my machine is a little slow because I have so much stuff on here, but I just want you to see how it's going to show up. Let me turn my machine on real quick. All right, so it's not showing. Not sure why it's not showing, but it will show you all the little circles. And of course, when you print it out on your Cricut, it will print just what you sent to the printer. Okay, are you sure they want to cancel? Yes, and then cancel. So this is how you do or create a custom rhinestone template. Once again, I know that it's a lot of work, but I just want you to see that it is possible if you have the time. I'll show you briefly a couple of different designs that I have that I've used it for. It's not allowing me to. Let me see. Talking tees. And I already showed you my Prey one. So this is the Prey that I have. I also have another one that if you see, I just have, these are the size 16, so they're much larger. So I just have them in the first half of this font instead of the whole lettering. I also have this one of my designs, I Can All Things Through Christ. And I usually try to create or keep what I create before I put the stones, because I may have someone who wants the design, but they don't want the stones. So I have the font that this pretty much is in, because I use this as a template to create my your circles for the template. Okay, I have this one, which, okay, that's a huge one that says Jesus, and it's I did it with size 6 stones, and I may change it because it is, Jesus is about 10.5 by 4 inches, and all of those little circles, it can be a lot. All right, so I have some other designs, but I just wanted to show you guys that it is possible. And for those who wanted to know, who asked, once again, this is the sizes that you should create your circles if you're using a stone size 6, stone size 10, a stone size 16. Okay, if you would like to see me actually create something and cut it out, show you how to use this material, which is called Magic Flock, go ahead and comment, and I can do a video actually showing you printing it out. We'll do real time showing you on the Cricut, because it does take some time depending on how large your design is. You know, your machine is cutting out all these little circles. But what's the process and the process of actually filling it in? So I hope this helps. If you have any questions or comments, leave it for me. Thank you.